Hello, so I just wanted to make a small video showcasing what I've been working on for the past few months, actually, and yeah, let's get right into it. I've been working in this game Minecraft, where I'm sure many of you have played already, where it's a game about sort of building and creating structures with blocks, and you have things like entities in the game that move around and act accordingly. And one of the things that I was interested in was um, one problem in Minecraft is that the entities in this game are very basic in the sense that they're only programmed to do very basic tasks such as to go places or to sort of follow some attraction towards an object. And that's really all they can do because that's all they're programmed to do. So for instance, if we have a pig here, and I'm holding a carrot, he will actually be attracted to me. He will try and his best to pathfind his way to me. And as you can see, since pigs cannot fly, he cannot get up to where I am right now. But if I am in a place where he can actually reach me, then he will follow me accordingly. And one of the problems that sort of these entities in general in this game have is that if I am, for instance, in somewhere where the pig cannot reach, well, the pig can essentially not do anything at all. He can't get to me. And after discussing it with some people, basically, since this game is all about sort of breaking and molding the environment however you need, I thought about why not give these abilities that the player has, such as breaking blocks and placing blocks, to an entity, and sort of use, instead of a traditional pathfinding algorithm, sort of augment it with a reinforcement learning algorithm as a means to improve pathfinding in a way that if, for instance, you can't walk to a place normally, how about you make your own path to that location? So what I've made is actually a Zorg. Well, that's what I've been calling it. It looks like a ditto. But basically this creature here is supposed to be modeled after a player, as you can see. And what this creature does is it will go and follow this goal block. So anytime it sees this goal block, it will try its best to walk over it with the built-in Minecraft pathfinding system. However, if it encounters an obstacle like a wall that it cannot overcome by simply walking through it or walking around it, what it can do is it can either choose to break blocks or it can choose to place blocks. So I gave it these two sort of abilities for it to reach this goal here. Alright, and to train this Zorg, I've created this automatic environment generator, as you can see over here, which creates this giant cube full of just random blocks to create sort of this obstacle field. And essentially how this Zorg trains is each sort of training session involves it being placed into the center and this goal block being placed somewhere randomly inside of this cube. And basically the Zorg's job is to just repeatedly find and reach the cube, and every time it does it, I'm recording how well it does, as in like how long it takes, how many actions it takes for it to get there, etc. And eventually, I will start this in action now. So here's an example. So here we have the Zorg in the middle and the goal block over here, and its job is to basically get to this goal block. And as you can see, well, not too well, but there's a few obstacles in its path, like a big wall. And yep, right now it's deciding on how best to reach this goal block here where it's being obstructed. Alright, so I'll give it a few moments to see if we can figure out sort of how to navigate this terrain. And sometimes it does get stuck, But yeah. The idea here is that eventually over time it will learn how best to navigate to this goal block. So as you can see, it's making some amount of progress by breaking the blocks and sort of placing its own path. Although it does seem to be a bit confused right now. Yep, and now he's stuck, even though he's really close to it. So in terms of training, I'm still in the early stages of training these, but I have essentially created a system where I can train multiple of these orgs at the same time. Sort of implementing the A3C, but within the game itself. And my hope is that over time, as enough of these are being trained, eventually there will be some amount of models that come out on top in terms of efficiency, in terms of their pathfinding, and how best to get to a certain goal block. So yeah, sometimes they do get a bit confused there, but eventually they should make their way over as close as they should to the goal block here. Alright, so that's just one of them. So yeah, what I'm able to do now is actually I'm able to train multiple at the same time by sort of creating their own individual test chambers and initialize them. So I can have multiple Zorgs training at the same time in hopes of finding a model that is good at this pathfinding, and eventually this pathfinding can be later applied to other entities and sort of things that spice up the gameplay a bit, or can be applied to other games in terms of how these other entities can interact with the player themselves. So if you can imagine, there are a lot of monsters in Minecraft already, but what if these monsters can start breaking blocks and start hunting the players, for example? That would cause a bit of more interesting gameplay, in my opinion. But yeah, so that's just a little wrap up of what I've done so far, and let me know if you have any comments or suggestions, and I'd be happy to talk about it. Yep.